Welcome to Life with David. I'm David, and today I need to change the water filter on my GE model PYE22K refrigerator. That's not a big deal, right? Well, not if you don't mind spending nearly $60 every 6 months. The standard RPWFE filters are really good, but also expensive. There's an older version, the RPWF, which has decent filtering specs and fits just fine, but it won't work in my refrigerator since it doesn't contain a proprietary GE RFID chip. But at $10 per filter, it's much more economical. I'm up for the challenge, so why don't you join me as we try to make filtered water more economical? I'd like to spend a moment on safety. There's nothing more important than keeping you and your loved ones safe. Be sure to read, understand, and follow the safety rules for your tools. Using your tools properly will greatly reduce the risk of personal injury. And always use the appropriate eye, hearing, and respiratory personal protective equipment. This time we're going to be cutting plastic. The shavings can go everywhere. Also, we'll be using a non-standard filter. If you live in an area where the water quality is not excellent, then use the manufacturer's recommended filters. If you're following along, you're doing so at your own risk. And if you don't feel comfortable doing any of these activities, then don't. Now, let's get started. About 6 years ago, I purchased a new Kenmore Elite refrigerator, which was just a rebadged LG. It died just before Easter last year with a house full of company. Because of supply chain issues, I had my choice of only one refrigerator I could purchase and not wait weeks for delivery, the GE model PYE22KYNFS French door refrigerator. The fridge works fine, but I was in for a shock when I replaced the water filter the first time. It only accepts GE RPWFE filters. With shipping and tax, they run about $60 each. I swallowed hard and bit the bullet the first time, but I resolved to find a more economical solution in the future. During my research, I found that the RPWFE filter is an updated version of the older RPWF filter. The RPWFE has improved filtering capabilities for some substances, but is dimensionally identical to the older filter. However, it contains an RFID tag that my refrigerator must sense before it will allow the ice maker and water dispenser to operate. As a result, even though the older and much cheaper RPWF filters will fit in my refrigerator, they will not work. Now, I live in Cleveland. We're proud to have some of the best drinking water in the nation. In fact, Cleveland has won several honors in the past for the quality of its water. I have no qualms about drinking water straight from the tap, and I do often. So I don't really need the enhanced filtering capabilities of the improved RPWFE filter. The older RPWF filter is more than adequate for my needs. In fact, it has better filtering capabilities than the LG filter I was using just a couple years ago. Since we have great water here, I would like to try to use the less expensive RPWF filters in my refrigerator. However, if I was living in an area with questionable water quality, I'd spring for the best filter possible, in this case, the RPWFE. The key to using the less expensive RPWF filter is to trick the refrigerator into thinking that the filter has an RFID tag like the RPWFE filter. What is RFID? RFID stands for Radio Frequency Identification. As the name suggests, it's a way of sending identification information using radio waves. The little RFID tags are everywhere, like in your library books, loss prevention tags for expensive merchandise, and access badges. A specialized version of RFID called NFC or Near Field Communications is probably in your smartphone. How does it work? There are many versions of RFID, but the one on the RPWFE filter is a passive tag. A reader, which is located in the refrigerator, sends out a 13.56 MHz radio signal. The tag, which is located on the filter, has an antenna that couples with the reader. When the tag is activated, it sends information by shorting out its antenna in a specified pattern. This information is detected by the reader, and the information is sent to the control board of the refrigerator. My refrigerator must see a valid RFID signal to allow water system operation. We can give the RPWF filters RFID capability by physically transferring the RFID tag from an RPWFE filter to an RPWF filter. The older RPWFE filters have a stick-on RFID tag that can be easily transferred to a different filter by peeling it off the old RPWFE filter and sticking it on a new RPWF filter. Later RPWFE filters have an RFID tag that's molded into the filter case. Unfortunately, those are what I have. Time to bring out the saws. I have two RPWFE filters. The first one came originally with the refrigerator that I had used, and the second one I bought to replace it. I'll start with the first filter. After I removed the sticker that covered the RFID tag, I tried to peel the RFID tag off the filter housing. However, I quickly discovered that it had been molded into the case and that I would probably destroy it if I kept going with a knife. So I got out a hacksaw and made a couple cuts across the filter. Then I got out my Dremel tool and finished cutting the housing so I could liberate the tag. Once I had removed the piece of the housing with the tag, I started using the Dremel tool with a rotary file to remove the excess housing material. I didn't know how deep the tag was embedded, so in the area of the tag, I decided to use my soldering iron to melt away the excess plastic. Eventually, I got rid of most of the plastic, but not before I did a little damage to the RFID antenna. However, it was not in a critical area, so I proceeded to stick the tag onto the new RPWF filter with some masking tape. The range of these tags is only 1 or 2 centimeters, so positioning is critical. I duplicated the position of the RFID tag between the original and new filter. I popped the new filter in with the tag pointed toward the outside of the refrigerator and voila, it worked. I thought I was in Fat City. However, within a day it stopped working. I thought maybe the damage I made to the RFID antenna had come back to bite me. I tried sticking the RFID tag next to the RFID detector on the refrigerator. That still didn't work. Dejected, I left the RFID tag stuck to the refrigerator and popped the second RPWFE filter back in. Then I ordered a third $60 RPWFE filter. When the third RPWFE filter arrived, I figured I'd try again. So before I installed the latest RPWFE filter, I sliced into the second RPWFE filter. This time, I cut a larger piece out of the filter that would allow me more flexibility in clamping it in a vise. Then instead of using a rotary file in the Dremel tool, I used an abrasive wheel to gently remove most of the excess filter housing material. When I got close to the back of the RFID tag, I trimmed the plastic close to the edges away. Then I used hand sanding and gentle grinding to remove just a little bit more. When I thought it was thin enough, I stuck the second RFID tag to the RPWF filter with some tape. I also removed the first RFID tag that I'd stuck in the refrigerator. It worked again, and this time it stayed working. Then I noticed something interesting. Before I started, the second filter was overdue for changing by 96 days. However, after I removed it and installed it on the RPWF filter, it reset the overdue day counter to only 1 day. This is just a theory, but I think the interaction between the two RFID tags caused the refrigerator to reset the overdue day counter. Also, I really don't know why the first RFID tag failed. All 3 of the RFID tags are partially recognized by the NFC function on my phone. Perhaps this is a question for a future video. Thanks for joining me today. I was able to install a more economical RPWF filter in my GE French door refrigerator instead of the more expensive RPWFE. It works fine and the water tastes great. However, if you live in an area with questionable water, you should use the best filter you can, in this case the RPWFE. I also whetted my interest in RFID and NFC chips. I might investigate those more in the future. Let me know if that's something that would interest you. If you like this video, or you think someone else might, please give it a thumbs up. If not, give it a thumbs down. The more likes this video has, the more YouTube will recommend it to others. Also, please leave a comment or suggestion for things to do. I hope to do more of these videos, so please subscribe and click on the bell for notifications of new videos. Let's get together next time for another day in Life with David. See you soon!